Luke, you've had lots of experience here losing great linebackers and having to replace them the next year. But Ryan, as you mentioned, 15th pick in the draft, exceptional speed as a linebacker. He made so many plays. How can you really make up for that when you? Because he just seemed like a unique guy.
Well, the real loss is going to be, like you said, when you start off with just production. But sometimes you get addition by subtraction. We lose a great one, and we lose a guy that you know, obviously, I don't know if you can replace the production that you had, but I tell you, in turn, we've got a group that has really come together. And sometimes I say it's addition by subtraction. We lost something big, and a lot of guys, there's 5, 6, 7 guys that the light really came on, and you know, they saw some ability for themselves to step up and do some things. And you know, it's going to be a much more of a committee type of thing than some guy that maybe at the end of the season has breaks our production record like that Ryan Shazier probably did in the last 2 years. But there's a lot of exciting things to be said about those guys, and you know, we got a ways to go. But I promise that that group's going to be as strong as we've had in a while.
How is Curtis coming back as a senior? Had some injury problems last year. What have you seen from him in his final camp like this?
I think the one thing you can say about Curtis Green is his confidence level has really gone up, and that's probably the biggest thing. Curtis has always got the ability. I know that, you know, there's some things that we've seen and guys can say this and that about him, but the reality is when a guy's not in a good place in his mind, it's really tough. And you know, not to give Curtis an excuse or anything, but he's had a lot of tough things that happened, and things haven't quite gone his way since the day he walked in here. But I tell you what, he's a different kid. I shouldn't say kid, he's a different man. He's battled through a lot of things. He's got a lot of confidence in what he's doing. I tell you, he's the passion and energy of that defense right now.
How about Josh Perry? What did he show you maybe toward the last half of the season? Looked like he was really coming on just as the season ended for you guys.
Josh has grown a lot, and not just meaning by size and his weight up to 250-some pounds. The weight room and what Coach Mick and those guys have done for him in there has helped him grow immensely, and it shows in the field. And it's just those little things that, again, the confidence level of a kid like that and his ability to continue to play and battle through some things. There's a lot of things that Josh has gone through, and you're going to see it. You see the confidence level, his leadership ability. There's a lot of things that are really exciting, not just me, but a lot of the guys that are around him that see it.
Luke, I had covered this, but just what do you see in the commitment of the defense to just be better? Just the fire that they're showing in the first few days.
Well, I've always told them from the day I've been here, it's a lot easy. It's a lot harder to handle praise than it is criticism. And I tell you what, you know, not that they're, but they've been kicked a little bit. And you know what? There's no harder critic than ourselves. And they felt that, you know, in the way we played the last 3 games. And to be honest with you, it showed throughout the entire. It's not just the first 2 days of camp. Anybody can do it, but what they've done, and they've shown throughout the weight room in the winter, in the spring, it's the guys that they've got a chip on their shoulder and they got a mission.
You may have covered this. Are you locked in on 11 people? I mean, do you have a first?
No, we don't want to get locked in on 11. I think that's probably one of the things that happens to us, and we didn't do a great job of in the past. Was being locked in sometimes at 11, and sometimes even more so to the 4 guys up front. You know, Coach Johnson has been adamant about it, and you know, he's been doing it for a long time, and he's unbelievable at what he does. And he's adamant that, hey, we got to have 9 guys, and he does, and he will. And I know there'll be a starting 4, but we like to refer to them as 1A and 1B. And the closer we can bring those 1Bs to those 1As, the better we'll be.
Did you talk about the secondary, just new blood back there?
And again, it's that same thing. I think the biggest thing about the whole thing is it's a tie all together.
Yeah.
You know, it's when people talk about the passing defense and this, that, and the other thing, the reality is that's not on the secondary. That's on the linebackers and coverage, and that's on the pass rush. And when those 3 things all work together, you got a chance to be really successful. And you know, we know that this is the greatest sport known to man because it's a team sport. And you can have 10 great ones out there. If you got one bad one, somebody's gonna find it.
There's so much focus in the spring on the new things Coach Ash was bringing in. Do you feel like there's been a good carryover with the things you guys did in the spring to the beginning of the fall?
I mean, we've been out there for 2 days, but there's a carryover in a lot of things we've done. And the great thing about it is, you know, not only have the kids had to change and you know, bow up and handle some adversity, but the coaches have too. And you know, it's change is good for all of us. You know, it's not always easy, and it's not always the most comfortable thing. But to be honest with you, there's a lot of things that Coach Johnson has brought that are going to be real successful and help defensively out. And there's a lot of things that Coach Combs has, you know, kind of spoken up and battled through all of us in the last 4 or 5 months that are really going to help us. So I like where we're at.
Was that Damon Webb out there with the no?
I don't know.
7 in white.
Yeah, 7 in white, David Webb.
He out there with the ones at one
Nah,
point?
they might have been rolling. There's a lot of long balls being thrown sometimes, so those guys are running a lot. We're trying to monitor how far they run, so we've got to sub in there a little bit.
You've had a long career here, Luke. How much do you feel like things have changed for you this year? Do things feel different? I mean, you've been in a lot of preseasons. You've had different roles here at this university. Does anything feel different to you?
Yeah, I think there's a little different feel in the air. You know, I think with some of the adversity and the way we didn't play. I mean, I don't know if we've gone through an off season since I've been here that didn't really feel good about the way you played at the end of the year. I go back to 2002, my first year here, and you know, so it was quite an eventful off season. And I just mean that as, like I said, we're the hardest critics on ourselves. So it was one of those things that you know, you go through the off season not playing well your last 3 games and not being where you wanted to, and ultimately not playing better at the end of the year. And you got to do some self-evaluation in everything that you do.
Darren Lee, he hasn't played a lot of defensive football in his career. Is he almost kind of a natural to just step right in and do the things he's able to do?
Well, I mean, he's still learning. I mean, it's a daily process, and you know, we see a lot of flashes out, and you know, that's one of those things. It's a battle. I think he's done a great job, and he was a guy that we talked about a lot in the spring. But there's a guy right behind him, Chris Worley, that does a lot of great things as well. And what that's going to do is, it's the thing we haven't had in that linebacker, and we haven't talked about it, is that competition. And when we've had a great group of linebackers, we've created competition, and that's why I'm so excited to come to work and be with those guys, because they're pushing each other. They care for one another, but they're pushing each other every day. So it's going to make him better because he's playing, but it's also going to make him better because he's got a guy like Chris Worley and Sam Hubbard and Craig Feda that aren't going to let him slip up one bit.